On behalf of Akuno Senko for Bay, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We trying to help our people elevate. Hope. HOPE. We giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Yeah. Sometimes I practice focus, thought, and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate and seeking knowledge, make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day, make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that, my flesh can pass away.
I'm good.
All right, peace, family. We back with another one. I got a special brother with me today. I've known this brother for a while as well. Go ahead, bro. Tell him who you are and where you from.
Peace. My name is Jermaine. I go by Jay. I'm from Miami, Florida, but I grew up here in Tulsa. Been with the Thomas Edison, with the Rogers. If anybody with the Rogers, class of 2010. I just want to speak on.
Okay, so let's introduce it. Today's topic is going to be about mental health issues, and so go ahead, brother. I'm gonna let you have the floor. Go ahead and give your story, and we're gonna get into the mental health issues.
All right. So once again, my name is Jermaine, and I've dealt with, and I still deal with to this day. I'm 31 years old, and I deal with mental health issues with anger. I've grew up around violence, not in the streets, but just like in home, which led me to, and I'm not going to say that it actually allowed me or like made me be aggressive, but that was the environment that I grew up in. So I've always been aggressive, and I've been through counseling. I've been through counseling. I've been through different, how can I put it, outpatient therapy, and I've always been told, in the end of the day, it starts within yourself. So at one point, I was in denial. I was in denial of having anger issues. I was in denial of having depression. I just felt like at one point being a child, I knew I was going to get in trouble for lashing out, but I've always lashed out on people that either cared about me or just lashed out on like petty things. Like if somebody was, bothering me in class, instead of me going and tell, I would blow up. I would lash out, so not thinking about the consequences. And so even as an adult, I didn't think. I didn't stop and think. Now I feel like as I've gotten older, I still struggle with that. But now that I'm a parent, I'm a father now, I'm trying to learn how to humble myself and teach my son how to be a man without lashing out, without using anger as a weapon to mentally and physically hurt people. Because I've done that. I've mentally hurt others. I've physically hurt others using my anger as a weapon. And that's not healthy. And so, once again, I still deal with that. I'm working on that. I've advised a lot of people try it, just try to get help. Now I know we all may not, we're all not able to afford like insurance or any kind of medical bills like that to see a counselor. So, find somebody that you're close to, your mother, your grandfather, somebody that you're close to and talk to them. Like keep in contact with them, let them know how you feeling because mental health is a major issue, especially today. Like I said, I deal with it. I have my days where I'm cool, and I have my days when I'm down. You know, and um, I I have someone that I talk to. Um, so I'm trying to learn for one how to accept that it has to start with me and that I have to be the one to change my my attitude, how I talk to people, how I carry myself when I get angry. Um, I've always been told it's okay to be angry, it's just how you handle it. So, um, growing up, I've always, as a child, I was teased about my skin tone and my accent at the time because I was from Florida, so I sounded different, so I was teased a lot. And so I would just snap. I would blow up. I would, go off. And, once again, like I said, I didn't think about the consequences. And so I had to learn how to adapt. I had to learn how to accept being here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, because it was different. It was very different for me growing up here, not knowing anybody here. It was just my mother and my sister. And throughout the years, moving back and forth from Tulsa to Florida, back to Tulsa, um, there was domestic violence involved in the household. Um, so, we witnessed that growing up. And but once my mother, she moved away, got us back here to Tulsa. We've been here since 2001. And, she just wanted a better life for us. She wanted to make sure that we was going to be safe. And, you know, um, she did, and I thank her for for that, despite of everything that we've been through. I thank her for being that mother and just, making sure that we stay in school, making sure that we do what we're supposed to do and having respect for not only that for ourselves but others.
If I can ask, have you ever been incarcerated?
Yes, so once again I allowed my anger to get the best of me. I was 18 years old. I went to jail for assault with a dangerous weapon, and I've also went to jail for domestic, and which led me to go to prison. Um, I was 19 years old when I went to prison, and I got out when I was 21, and I ended up going back to prison when I was 25 and got out when I was 27. I'm 31 years old now, so I've been out since, and going to jail and going to prison was an experience for me due to the fact that, for one, I was young when I went to prison. I still had a mindset of like, just being an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, kid pretty much, and but I wanted to work. I've always had this work ethics where I love to work. So I was always trying to find a job, but I allowed my anger to get the best of me. And so going to jail was an experience because I didn't know the politics. I
Right.
didn't know the politics. I didn't know. I knew there were like gangs, but I didn't know the actual politics of jail. So I had allowed myself to get into a situation that, for one, nobody didn't explain to me. I used a disrespectful word, which was a fighting word, and I didn't know. So once again, letting my anger get the best of me. Me and this guy, we was waiting to get our hair cut, and he was being impatient, and I called him out his name in front of the pod, and he was like, "Bro, like we gotta go handle that." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You know what I mean? And he just came and like, he stole on me. So after that, you know what I mean, we had to go handle that and then we talked. You know what I mean? It was kind of weird because I was 18 years old and I'm like, I'm not knowing what's going on, you know what I mean? Like I let my anger get the best of me. So after all of that went down, you know what I mean, he explained to me, he was like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know you've been here like about a month, you know what I mean? You don't bother nobody. He was like, but you know what I mean? He was like, have you ever been to jail before? And I'm like, nah. So he kind of laid out, you know what I'm saying, like the
Politics.
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I also kind of learned more about it in prison. You know what I mean? When I went to prison when I was 19, that I surrounded myself with a lot of old school cats when I went to prison. Because it's prison is kind of like the way you live outside is how you somewhat going to live inside, you know what I'm saying? But you just don't have the luxury of like just going anywhere, you know what I mean? So, but I didn't get myself involved into the politics of like the racial wars or anything like that. I just hung out with most of the old school cats, you know what I mean? They'd come up to me and, you know what I mean? Like there was a cool, you know, a couple of guys that was my age that I talked to as well, but they knew that I wasn't from the streets, even just how I carried myself. So they kind of like took me under their wing like their little brother, you know what I mean? So um, I was cool, but mentally, um, mentally, it changed me due to the fact that before I went to jail, before I went to prison, I had this mindset of like everybody was my friend. And so um, the only ones that I really kept in contact with was my mother, my grandmother, my father, and my sis. And so when I say that I've hurt and disrespect people that was close to me, that was the ones, my mom, my dad, my grandmother, my sis. They are the ones that's close to me, but I disrespected them. You know what I mean? And yet they're still here. So that's why I still have to work on my mental health because I have people that's close to me that loves me, that wants to see me do right, that you know what I mean? So if you have someone that's close to you, you know what I'm saying? Like, love them, don't disrespect them. You know what I mean? You have an issue with them, be respectful when you talk to them. But
Okay, so do you remember how old you were when you moved to Tulsa from Florida?
uh, I believe the first time, because man, we moved back and forth so many times up until like 2001. Um, I want to say the first time I was like maybe like 5 or 6. Um, and the reason why I remember that, and it's crazy because around my 6th birthday, on my birthday, I don't know how because I didn't feel it up until I actually saw the wound or the cut, but somehow I had glass in my foot, but I didn't notice it until I actually looked down and saw it, and it was on my 6th birthday. So it was tragic. So I'll never forget that. But I know we was living here in Oklahoma then. That's the first time I remember us moving here to Oklahoma. It was probably like about 5, 6, and then I think we stayed probably like maybe a year, and then ended up moving back to Florida. Stayed there for a year, moved back. Um, I was like maybe like 9, about 8 or 9 years old when we moved back, like officially moved back, because I ended up going to Kendall Whittier Elementary School for 4th and 5th grade. Now I went to other elementary schools on the north side of Tulsa when we moved, like in between them times, but I can't remember the name of them or like the exact area. Now for 6th grade, I went to Gilcrease. I went to Gilcrease at the time. When I went, it was like 2003, 2004, and no, it was 2002, 2003 because at the time they only had 5th and 6th grade as Gilcrease. So when I went, I went and went for sixth grade. Then I went to Nimitz for seventh grade, and then eighth grade I went to Wilson. That's when I started playing football. Played football for Wilson. Then I ended up going to Rogers for about 2.5 years. Played football for them. Now I ended up transferring to Edison, and I ran track for Edison. Graduated 2010.
What position did you play?
I played linebacker. I was
Now,
linebacker.
kind of going back to the mental health issue, I want to kind of ask, were either your parents, was your father ever incarcerated?
I believe my dad went to jail. Um, but he's never been to prison. I just know he's been to jail, like I think maybe once or twice. Uh, my mother, she's been to jail once, but that was like a little like county jail in Florida. She was only in jail for like a day.
I
So
only ask because, we see in our community it's a repeat. Like a lot of fathers have been incarcerated. You know what I mean? Then their sons follow their footsteps, or maybe the mothers and their daughters follow their footsteps. And so that's why I
right,
ask. Just
right.
uh, how was your relationship with your parents? I mean, I know you say like the people that you heard. I mean, so y'all are obviously close, but I mean, how do you feel your relationship is with your parents?
My mother, I'm gonna start with her. We was always close. Like I could literally like just talk to her about everything. I remember as a child, she used to. I was like 8 or 9, um, but she used to just like maybe not even like 7 years old. She used to come home from work. She was a security guard for this private company, and she used to just come home every night, and she'd talk to me, and she'd just tell me everything that she was going through at work, and I'll just sit there and listen. You know what I mean? Like, and for years it was like that. You know what I mean? Even like after she stopped working, um, she'd just, you know what I mean, just come talk to me and reminisce on her past and her childhood and like, you know what I mean? So we were just always close, you know what I'm saying? And I'm her only son. So I don't know, it's a thing with mothers and sons, you know what I mean? Like just always been close. But we had our little ups and downs, you know what I mean? Like when I, especially as an adult, you know what I mean? Our ups and downs as a child was like me getting suspended from school, you know what I mean? Like I I couldn't really try my mom much, you know what I mean? So like me being out after a certain time or running away and all of that, like that wasn't happening because I already knew eventually I'm gonna want to go home, but I
Yeah.
already knew what's gonna happen
Yeah.
when I go home, you know what I'm saying? So um I got in trouble in school, you know what I mean? Like letting my anger get the best of me without talking about it. You know what I mean? Like um, I had this mindset, even though my father, like I know my father and I lived with him, you know, a couple of times, like, well, it wasn't just like me, like well, every time we moved back to Florida, it was with him. And then my mom would, you know, take us and come back here. But my father, our relationship was more like we'll talk on the phone if he was available, you know what I'm saying? And when we was in Florida, you know, he a workaholic, you know what I mean? So he'll work, go straight to the gym, work out, then he'll come home, talk to us for like 30 minutes, get in the shower, eat his little peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, go to sleep, wake up, do it all over again. You know what I mean? So that's all he do. So like my mom, she still talk about it to this day. Like my sister and I, we have our work ethics from him. She like y'all just like y'all daddy. You know what I mean? Like y'all love to work, and you know. So, but
Yeah.
that's our relationship was like me and him. We'd get together. If we was together, we'd go to the gym. You know what I mean? We'd work out together, and you know, there was a few times he had asked me questions, you know, trying to like really get to know me, you know what I mean? Because my mom, you know what I'm saying, like she raised us, you know. So um me and my father, we still speak. Um he said he's gonna come back here to visit sometime soon on his next vacation, but um that's pretty much it, you know, like my sis, we're close. We don't talk as much as we used to because our work schedule, but we close. She check up on me, and now that she's an auntie, she check up on Kayvon and stuff. So uh, my grandmother, our relationship is funny, man, because we both Geminis. So we cool, and then we bump heads, and then we cool, then we bump heads. But what I mean, I'm still her grandson. What I mean. So, but for the most part, I'm just trying to, um, I'm just trying to, for one, like I said, I've been out of prison like 6, 7 years now, since 2007, so like 6 years. And my bad, 2017. Um, and I still deal with, anger, dealing
That's what I
with.
was gonna ask you. Do you feel like going to prison had an impact on your mental?
Yes. It didn't help me. Like it didn't counsel me. It didn't help me uh improve my attitude. It didn't help me like sit down and say, okay, hey, this is what I need to do. This is what what I mean? Like I had that mindset of like, hey, all right, when I get out, I need to get a job. I need to get, what I mean? I need to get financially stable. But it didn't help me mentally get better. I seen nothing but violence. What I mean? You have to now, of course, you don't gotta walk up in there with your chest up and what I mean, like they're not gonna just press you like that. What I mean? But at the same time, you're not surrounded by, just like everybody that's just chilling, laid back. What I mean? Like there's always something going on. And so I've gotten in altercations, what I mean? Like you can't go to no, you can't, what I mean? Like go to your caseworker or go to your unit manager. You can't go to them because they're not there to protect you. You know what I mean? Like even the officers, they're not there to protect you. You have to protect yourself. They're there just to do their job, their paperwork, and that's it. So of course you can get into programs. They have programs. They put me in cognitive behavior. Um, what was the other one? Cognitive behavior, and it was another program. I can't remember the name of it, but pretty much cognitive behavior is supposed to. It talks about like how to deal with certain issues and your stress levels, uh, how to deal with family issues, but they just give you a paper. They just give you like a little pamphlet,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like you sitting in a class, but your instructor doesn't. What I mean? Like from my experience, anyway, the instructor doesn't interact. They don't show videos. They don't have you do like plays or anything.
Yeah.
So um, it didn't really help. It didn't really. You can people that go in there, everybody can speak for themselves. I went in. I had my experience twice. Um, I'm glad that I've been out this long, uh, and I just going to prison. I feel like I've met a lot of good guys. Like I said, even like a couple of old school cats. You know what I mean? They were like father figures. You know what I mean? So they were there were some guys in there that I can actually really talk to. Like, yo, this is what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? And how would you handle this situation? Or what I mean? How would you go about this? You know what I mean? Or like one guy here, I was real cool with Richard Snell and Orlando Wynn. Both of them two old school cats, man. They
Shout
used
out
to
to them.
come. Huh?
I say shout out to them too.
Yeah, shout out to them, man. They on my they man, they're them two guys, man. They were like mentors, you know what I mean? They were my mentors. They would come and check up on me every day. You know what I'm saying? Like um Richard Snell, he was more uh he he was more the laid back, chill, you know what I mean? And Orlando, he's like the active and laughing type, and he's very goofy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're smart, you know what I mean? They've been through life. Um, and I was able to talk to them, you know what I mean? And they had to, you know what I mean, like there were some things that I had to check myself on because my attitude, there was one time that I came at them crazy. And you know what I mean? Like with them being incarcerated for like 10 plus years, they could have had that mindset to do something, you know what I mean? But they like, nah, this for one, this is a brother and this is a young brother, you know what I mean? And we need to just talk some sense into him, you know what I mean? So I appreciate them for not giving up, you know what I mean? Because with me having that rage, that anger, that attitude, I push some people away that I can never get back. You know what I mean? So you don't want to push somebody to the point where they just want to give up on you. It doesn't feel good. It just, you know what I mean? At that point in time, you mad, you angry. It may feel good at that moment, but the aftermath
Yeah.
is not cool, you know? And I always had that bad habit of when the damage is done, then I will apologize afterwards, not even realizing that I can apologize, but that's not going to really, you
I'm gonna
know,
change it. Yeah.
fix the damage. You know, if whether it's physical damage or mental, and so um, going to prison, it didn't really help. I just met a few guys in there that were experienced in life and saw how I was carrying myself and was like, yo, this is not for you. You know what I mean? Like we know you're better than this. You know what I mean? So get your act together, get your life together. You know what I mean? Like work on you. And when I got out the second time, that was when I met them. You know, I actually took that serious. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I still allow my anger to get the best of me, but I recognize, you know what I mean? Like I recognize the issue. I'm not in denial. I don't sit back and think that it's okay. And now that I have a son, you know what I mean? Once again, like I mentioned earlier, I want to be able to raise him to handle himself when he gets angry, not to mentally and physically, for one, hurt himself or anybody else. Because
Can I ask you, why do you think mental health is so important in our community especially?
mental health in our community especially is important is because it's important for one, the children. Like we have to show them that it's more to violence. We have to show them that it's okay to be upset, but it's not okay to go and hurt somebody because they made you upset, or talk to your parents or disrespect your parents. You know what I mean? So like once again, like I said, I've never really just been in the streets or anything like that, but I've disrespected my parents. You know, um, I went down a path that wasn't right because of the lack of guidance that was not only just in the household but just the community. And so um, it starts with self. if we can accept, like, for one, if we can accept our flaws and accept ourselves as just a person, then eventually and hopefully we can plant the seed in others, you know what I mean, especially that's younger than us, the younger generation, plant that seed into their mind that we don't have to be out here fighting. We don't have to be out here stealing. We don't have to think that it's okay running around, you know what I mean, posting up videos and pictures with violence.
Uh, I want to go into that because also, as I think, because the narrative is that it's the single homes where the children have the mental issues. But as you said,
Mm-hmm.
you had both your parents growing up. And I know my stepfather and my mother was together throughout my whole childhood. So it doesn't matter whether it's a single home or both parents are in the home.
Mm-hmm.
As I call it, PTSD, post-traumatic slave disorder. That's what I call it, slave disorder. It's a mental that was passed down from generation to generation,
Right.
where now it's gotten out of hand with the younger generation, to where now you can't even most of them won't even fight, but you can't even have a conversation with a brother or like try to help a brother without them thinking that you're trying to belittle them or sound
That
like you're
is.
smarter than them. You know what I'm saying? Even sisters, you try to enlighten
Mm-hmm.
some of them, not all, but you try to enlighten some of them. They feel like talking down on them, or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a mental health issue.
Right.
Back to accountability, like you were saying, yourself. You know what I'm saying? Checking self. You know what I'm saying? I had to do that. That's how I was able to get to where I am. And I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna act like I'm perfect because I'm on this camera. You know what I'm saying? I
I
still,
still have to do that.
you know what I'm saying?
Even
Both
oh,
my
my bad. Go
parents,
ahead.
I still deal with my mental health issues. You know what I'm saying? Wishing I could talk to my mother, whatever. You know what I mean? But I have to fight. I have to deal with. I have to go. Like you said, because your son. So because of my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? This is why when I do have her, it's why it's important for me to teach her what I know, so
Right.
that she doesn't follow the same footsteps, so she don't go down this route that the media or the music propaganda is trying to promote on our young women.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm
That
saying?
is true.
I have to be the generational curse breaker. I got to be the one to break those generational curses. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
And not to get off subject, but as an example, with the quote unquote holidays, I can't be claiming that I'm indigenous or I'm quote unquote Indian, Native American or whatever, but then I'm celebrating Thanksgiving.
Right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's a mental issue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't be
That is.
claiming I was a black slave, but I'm celebrating the 4th of July.
Yep.
That's a mental issue.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? This
Right.
is a mental issue that needs to be addressed in our community,
Mm-hmm.
many levels. And
I
so
mean, yeah.
before we end, I want to ask you, is there a message that you want to get to anybody that's going to watch this?
Um, man, just for one, really just take a time out, whether you're at work or just at home. Just take a time out and really just evaluate yourself, but also just check in with your loved ones, like for real. Check in with whether it's, you know what I mean, like your friend, your mother, your dad, anybody that you're close to, even if you're not close to them, just check in with them because mental health is serious. You can be cool one day, and then the next day you may, you know what I mean, something may just go wrong, or your whole day may just seem like it's going wrong. Just don't give up. You know what I mean? Don't give up, and just try to find something that you like, that motivate you, and that's just, that's going to really help you as a person and just motivate others, especially the children. especially the children, man. Like these young children, man, they watch us. They watch us. Like I'm learning from my son things that I do, things that I say. He picking up on that, So they watching us. So just make sure that you start with yourself. Look out and love your family and your children.
Like I say, bro, I appreciate you giving me your time on this platform, and
Hey man, I appreciate you, man.
I look forward to building with you in the future, bro.
I really, really appreciate you for having me on here, and keep doing what you're doing, man. Like keep going, man. Just don't give up. Keep going. Like I'm very happy for you, bro.
I
Very happy.
appreciate it. Oh yeah. Also, if y'all don't know, in the intro, this is Jay.
Yeah, I've been very busy, y'all. So I've been ghost for a little while. You know what I mean? But I'm very happy to be a part of this, and I really appreciate you again, and I appreciate everyone else that's gonna watch this. And just once again, y'all, man, just start with yourself. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to be upset sometimes, but it's just how you handle it. You know what I mean? And just make sure that you be a vessel for these children.
That's right. And with that, bro, I appreciate you again. Peace and love. And I'm gonna holler
Peace.
later.
Peace.